and Company, this is your Places Call for Top and Show. Stand by lights 25 and sound 10. Lights 25 and sound 10. And go.
Hey, I'm Neil Mills. I'm the scenic designer for RASHOMON. What excites me about the play RASHOMON? I think there's a couple of things. One, I think the story is stunningly beautiful. It's a classic Japanese tale. Most people have seen the movie if you've been around classic cinema, so it's a piece that is kind of revered in the film community and something that I've been interested in for a long time. I saw the movie many years ago in school. So it's a piece that I've been excited about for a long time. One of the things that I love about scenic design is that you get to dive into so many different cultures and so many different stories. And so to be able to dig into traditional Japanese culture, I think is really exciting as well. As a scenic designer in particular, the challenge really is that there's several different locations that we have to go throughout the play. There's the Rashomon Gate, which is one location. That's where half of the story takes place, the retelling of this murder in the forest. The second location is the Bamboo Forest. And within the Bamboo Forest, there's several different locations that we have to navigate through. And we've solved that by using a turntable. The third location is the police court where they're actually testifying in front of the judge, in front of the magistrate. And so the challenge really as a scenic designer is to create a world for all three of these locations to live in that is seamless and cohesive, and to also make transitions between these worlds seamless and cohesive. So that's the biggest challenge that this piece presents for a scenic designer. So what inspirations did I use specifically for this design? David Furumoto came to us early on with this traditional Japanese practice of ikebana. And ikebana is traditional Japanese flower arranging. And so that really became the inspiration for what's going to be the sculpture of the bamboo forest. We also looked at a lot of installation art, a lot of bamboo-specific installation art, and you're going to see those kinds of things reflected in the arrangement of the bamboo forest. For the Rashomon Gate itself, we actually took some stills from the film and we're able to base our design for the gate off of that. The Rashomon Gate was an existing structure, and so there is both film reference and photographic and reconstruction evidence to go off of to recreate that piece of the set. Beyond that, we also just looked at a lot of traditional Japanese art. The inspiration for the surround, my brilliant assistant Julie Gessner did a lot of really good research on Japanese triptychs, traditional Japanese painting. So that became the inspiration for the surround. And then the last piece of this is that David Furumoto came to us with a piece, this traditional Japanese woodblock, and there's skulls that kind of blend into the clouds. And so that became the inspiration for at least the stage right part of the surround. So really delving really deeply into Japanese culture, Japanese art, traditional Japanese sculpture, really. Those are the inspirations for the piece. So what are some distinctive aspects of this design that the audience should pay attention to? The first is the turntable. The turntable is a really unique, it's a very traditional scenic design conceit. It's kind of gone out of style, honestly, in the last, I would argue, 15 to 20 years. It was really heavily used through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You do see it still here and there, but it's I would argue less common, and maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but it's also my first turntable, which is really exciting. So I'm very excited to have some moving scenery. So that's a pretty unique feature of the show. And I guess the last thing that I'll say is that when I create a space for a play to take place in, the first thing that I'm thinking about is what is the audience going to react to when they walk into the space. So I want the audience to pay attention to how they feel when they sit down and they look at the stage. That's kind of the first reaction that I would encourage the audience to pay attention to. And then there should be some emotional things that the scenery communicates throughout the show as well. So to me, scenery is much more about physical objects. It's about communicating the emotional heart of the play to an audience. And so I want the audience to pay attention to how they're reacting to it.